Welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. My name is Mr. G, your meteorologist, and thank you for joining me right here on the channel. So you can check me out on TikTok and YouTube. And if you are inclined to do so, please leave a follow with us on TikTok and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comments, likes, and your opinions are always welcome here on the channel. Thank you for joining me today as we're having a great day today as far as the weather is concerned. We're not looking at any severe weather, no weather extremes other than the cold air that's moving through. But you pretty much should be used to it by now. You've had some days to acclimate to the cold weather. We had a lot of sleet and freezing rain down across the south, so we're still trying to deal with the aftermath of that, and it's still been really cold, so we haven't seen any melting of that sleet and freezing rain and snow that is falling across Tennessee and Kentucky, so we're not seeing any melting of that as of yet, as we've been entrenched in that cold air. We're about to receive a reinforcing shot of that cold air for another day or two or so. So Saturday and into Sunday, we're going to see another drop in those temperatures by a few degrees. But by the time we get to Monday, all the models indicate a 180-degree turn in the weather, so we're going to be seeing those temperatures begin to rise quite dramatically, especially as we get through the second half of the month of January. A nice January thaw is in store for everybody, so that's great to hear. We're going to be seeing those temperatures warm, and maybe we can melt some of that snow through places that don't typically have snow, especially across the Mid-South and down across in the Pacific Northwest as well, where we've seen a lot of sleet and freezing rain, so they've also have to deal with that winter weather. So warming temperatures can melt some of that snow, melt some of that ice and stuff that they've been having across the Pacific Northwest. Our city of the day is Cleveland, Ohio. Yes, the wonderful city of Cleveland out there with some lake effect snow falling right now. So light snow is in your forecast for the remainder of the day. You're going to be dealing with that lake effect snow. The temperatures are in the upper 20s in the Great Lakes right now, the eastern Great Lakes there through eastern Ohio and through parts of western New York. So we're going to be seeing those temperatures in the mid-20s with scattered lake effect snow showers this afternoon. Temperature is about 28 degrees right now in the Cleveland downtown area there off of Lake Erie. So another day of some lake effect snow across the Northeast. So I hope everybody is going to be safe this afternoon. I hope you get to work from home. If you do, that's great. And hopefully you can be careful out there. I don't want any personal injuries from slips and falls, no traffic accidents or anything like that, because you're trying to commute home in the snow. So that's enough of that right now as we talk about the weather forecast for the rest of the country. And for the upcoming weekend, we have another storm to deal with that's going to be moving from the west coast to the east coast. This storm is going to be mostly focusing over the northern half of the country from the Pacific Northwest, the northern Rockies, the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. The South is not going to have to worry about this storm too much. We might see some rain over the Southeast, but we won't be dealing with any severe weather. We're not going to worry about tornadoes with this storm system, but we are going to be seeing some more measurable snow into the Northeast and even into the along the I-95 corridor, New York City and Boston, maybe Baltimore and Philly might pick up some snow showers as we head into the weekend. Not going to be a big event by any stretch of the imagination, but some more measurable snow out there on the East Coast. So let's take a look at the live radar right now at some of the locations across the country where we are seeing some inclement weather at this time. Okay, here's a look at the Northeast and the Great Lakes as we have that trough of low pressure moving across the parts of the mid the mid-Atlantic states, and we have our lake effect snow over the Great Lakes. So we will see some general light snow across the area for the remainder of this afternoon and into the evening hours. We're going to be seeing that light snow moving from the mid-Atlantic and into the northeast. So from Boston, you might see some snow showers. Boston southward to New York City and even Washington, D.C., we might be seeing some snow showers this afternoon. And we're going to continue to see those snow showers make their way across Pennsylvania and out of Ohio and into upstate New York. So some snow showers to be had out there across the Northeast and in the Great Lakes areas. Now let's go to the other part of the country where we're dealing with some wintry weather in the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. So here we are on the West Coast now as we take a look at the other storm system that's going to be making its way across the country with our next coast-to-coast storm. We're seeing rain showers here along the coastal areas, and we're seeing that snow in the Cascade mountain range, and we're also dealing with some freezing rain here across parts of Oregon and southern Washington, and maybe even in and around the foothills of the Cascades near the Seattle and Olympia and Tacoma areas. We're going to be dealing with some freezing rain and sleet and some snow there in the Cascades. A winter storm warning is posted for the Cascade Mountains, and we're going to be seeing winter weather advisories over eastern Washington and eastern Oregon as we have some of that snow making its way into those areas. So as we move through time, we're going to see this storm make its way across the Rockies and the northern plains in Minnesota. We're going to be seeing some snow showers in those areas and snow in the Great Lakes and eventually in the Northeast. We'll see some rain showers along the Appalachian Mountain Range to the east of the mountains along the southeastern coast towards the state of Florida and parts of the eastern areas of the Gulf Coast, so Florida and maybe Alabama. We might see some rain showers, but no severe thunderstorms expected with this storm system, so that is a bit of good news. So let's move on to our maps as we take a look at the forecast for today and through the weekend and into next week. All right, we're going to keep things moving with that weather forecast, and we're going to jump into our first map here, and this is that storm as it comes out of the northern plains and across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic states. And that's going to be what we see from today through Saturday. We're going to be seeing that next storm bring in that chance of snow from the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest through the Mid-Atlantic states and into parts of the Northeast. So we're going to be seeing snow moving into Philadelphia, New York City, then across New Jersey, and maybe down toward the D.C. and Baltimore area. It will be cold enough to be snow over that region, so we're going to continue to see a few more inches of snow across parts of the Northeast. Now, as far as the Midwest is concerned, we're only going to pick up a few inches. Some areas might pick up at least 3 to 5 inches here across Iowa, southern Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, maybe parts of Wisconsin as well. But other than that, not going to be a barn burner or anything like that. So we're not going to see any dramatic snowfall amounts with this storm system. So that is a bit of good news. It's just going to add a little bit on top of what you already got on the ground right now in that part of the country. Here we are as we take a look at the other area issue that's going to be with this storm system, especially along the Appalachian Mountain Range. So through Shenandoah and the Appalachia, we're going to be seeing freezing rain associated with the storm system and a lot of sleet as well. So if you're not going to get a lot of snow, but you will pick up some freezing rain, and we're going to be looking at generally about less than 1/10 of an inch. Some areas could pick up to 1/4 of an inch, and that could lead to some tree damage. Also, issues with personal injuries from slips and falls. Generally, slippery conditions and sporadic power outages might also be possible with that area of freezing rain there across the Mid-South, the lower Mississippi River Valley, and through the Appalachian Mountains. So something to keep in mind and tread lightly and carefully be thoughtful about your steps and how you move when you go outdoors and when this storm hits this weekend, okay? So from Friday through Sunday, we're going to be dealing with that storm system. Here's another look at the storm system over the East Coast when it brings that snow over the eastern Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, and through parts of the Northeast. We're going to be seeing that snow. So here we are as we take a look at how much snow is going to fall across parts of the Northeast and the Great Lakes as we head into the weekend here. So how much are we going to be looking at? Generally, on the higher end, we're going to see 3 to 5 inches here across the eastern Great Lakes. So Ohio, Pennsylvania, I think it's going to be where the heaviest snow falls. In West Virginia as well, we're going to be seeing some maybe that 3 to 5 inch range. Over the western high plains, so over Iowa, and through Illinois. We're going to see generally 1 to 3 inches, maybe an area of 3 to 5 inches around the Chicago area. You might pick up maybe 3 to 4 inches in that region. Minneapolis, you're not going to see any measurable snow. Some snow will fall, but it's going to be very light and very short-lived, and it's not going to amount to even a dusting. So maybe a dusting at best. So the snow drought continues for Minnesota with this strong El Nino in place, and it's really making that impact across the upper Midwest and the northern plains with the lack of snow that we're seeing out there this winter. That trend is going to continue with this weather as we head into the weekend and into your next week. So here's your chance of seeing more than 2 inches of snow here in the I-95 corridor. So down from through New Jersey, here New Jersey, Delaware is right there. There's Maryland, Virginia is right there. So you have a small chance to pick up more than 2 inches here across parts of Maryland, but you have a slight chance of 2 inches here over Delaware, New Jersey. The chance increases as you go further toward the north, towards Newark and Montclair, New Jersey, West Orange, near New York City. That chance goes up to a very likely chance that you can see more than 2 inches of snow. So maybe you could pick up a couple inches, maybe 3 inches of snow through parts of Jersey, up to New York City, and maybe up to Boston. But most of the snow is going to fall central and western New York and Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and then Ohio and over the upper Midwest through Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa. Wisconsin is not going to get a lot this time. In Minnesota, you're probably not going to get anything meaningful or even anything worth mentioning across that area. So, unfortunately, here is our winter weather alert. We're looking at winter storm warning only across the mountains of West Virginia. Right here is where we're going to see a winter storm warning. Otherwise, winter weather advisory for the rest of the Mid-South here in the Appalachia and the Mid-Atlantic states and the Great Lakes. So we're going to be seeing that 1 to 3 inches of rain. Generally, we're going to be less than 6 inches of rain. So some light snow is expected across the southern tier, the southern areas of the Great Lakes. So Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania is where you're going to pick up that 3 to 5. But the eastern areas of Ohio, 3 to 5. Western Ohio, Cleveland, westward to Indiana, that general 1 to 3 inches. And that 1 to 3 inches all the way across Iowa into Kansas, Nebraska, that 1 to 3 inches of snow. So not the biggest snowfall by any stretch of the imagination. So another bullet dodge with this storm system. Here is that winter weather advisories that we're seeing across the western U.S., the Northwest, and the Northern Rockies. So we have a winter storm warning over the Cascade Mountains. We're seeing that winter storm warning, so we're going to pick up more than 6 inches of snow in that area. But everyone else is going to be winter weather advisories. Winter storm warning over northern Montana, so Glacier National Park. If you're in Kalispell, maybe the higher elevations of northern Montana, Big Sky, Montana, those areas might pick up at least 6 inches of snow, 6 to 10. So that's enough to warrant a winter storm warning for those areas. Here is that storm as it really makes its way from the west to the east. Look at that, light snow across the upper Midwest, Minnesota, light snow into the Great Lakes, light to moderate snow into the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. As you can see here, if you're in Boston, actually, Boston is going to miss out on a lot of this storm system, as a lot of the action is going to be further towards your south and west. You'll pick up some snow, some light snow, but maybe about an inch or snow or so across the Boston area. But New York and Philly, and New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, and parts of Michigan, southern Michigan, is where the bulk of this 3 to 5 inches of snow is going to fall with this next storm system. Here is your wind chill alert. So we do have another wind chill alert we're going to see on Saturday. And I think Saturday will be the last day for the wind chill alerts. We're going to start to see those winds switch around to the south, southwest. So we're going to begin to see warmer air. So as we move into Sunday, areas that's sitting in the single digits in the teens right now will be in the 20s on Sunday. And Monday, you're going to see those 30s return. The mid to upper 30s is going to return in a lot of those areas. So Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, all throughout the South. You got where you've been seeing those teens and 20s, 30s and 40s are going to return. Some of you are going to get into the 50s along the Gulf Coast. Texas as well, 50s is going to return. So that is some good news. So you're going to see a lot of that snow melt in those areas. So that ice that still might be around will begin to melt as well. So some much needed or deserved melting is on the way. So relief is on the way. So that's some good news. So here's some of the lake effect snowfall totals we've had since the last few days here across the Great Lakes in upstate New York. So we've seen as much as 30.8 inches of snow in Lackawanna, New York. And Copenhagen, we've seen 30 inches of snow. Lancaster, we've seen 28 inches of snow. Black River, 24.8 inches of snow. And West Seneca, 24.1 inches of snow. So we've had a lot of lake effect snow out there across upstate New York. We're still going to see that potential for 8 to 12 inches in Buffalo. And we're going to see that potential for 5 to 8 inches up there in Watertown. That's the other lake effect hotspot typically that we see this time of the year. Here is our winter weather advisory and winter storm warning watch in effect across. So we have a lake effect snow watch for Watertown, Buffalo, but a winter weather advisory Niagara Falls down to the south in India and Pennsylvania, and we have central New York here with a winter weather advisory here for the snowfall that's expected. That cold weather is still going to be with us for another few days. So through Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're going to be seeing that the bulk of that cold air shift further east. Another shot of cold air through the Midwest for Friday and Saturday. That bulk is going to shift south and east. So for one more day, but then this begins to spread east, this area here, where it's going to be warming. So on Sunday, we're going to start to see the 20s return and 30s for a lot of you. And the much more noticeable and significant warm-up will take place on Monday. So that's some good news. So here is a look at the temperature outlook from the 22nd through Friday the 26th next week. And we're going to be seeing the entire country above average for next week. The entire country is going to be above average as far as temperatures, especially here in the Great Lakes and in the upper Midwest and then through the Northeast. We're going to really have a better chance of being above average. The most likely chance, the most likely opportunities to be above average. The long range forecast, the 7-day plus forecast, the models indicate temperatures in the 40s here in the Twin Cities, which is almost unheard of in January. Happens sometimes, but a nice stretch of 40s is coming, and some of the models is trying to hint at a 50 in the second week of February. A 50 in Minnesota. Okay, maybe in southwestern Minnesota. I believe that would happen there sooner. Mankato, Worthington, Albert Lee, southern and southwestern Minnesota. I would believe that first. But there we are, a possibility of a 50-degree temperature in late January or early February. It's unbelievable. But the dry weather is going to continue across the upper Midwest. So we're not only seeing warmer than average weather, we're also seeing very dry weather as well. So likely below average across the northern plains and the upper Midwest, but above average the Southwest and the Gulf Coast and the South. Those storm systems coming into the Pacific Northwest, they dive south across the Rockies to the southern plains, to New Mexico, Texas, and then right across the Gulf Coast before turning toward the Northeast, either offshore or onshore. They make it either a land track toward the Northeast or along the eastern seaboard in the Gulf Stream toward the Northeast. So we're going to go back to that pattern that we've been seeing after we do this 1 week storm that's going to affect the northern plains and the upper Midwest. I am really sick of this camera. Getting tired of it. So here we are with the temperature outlook for February through April. As we have that strong El Nino in place, we're going to see much of that El Nino stamp on our weather continue. So in the Pacific Northwest, we're going to be seeing a very likely above average temperatures. Likely above average temperatures across the upper Midwest, in the Great Lakes, and in the Northeast. But likely below average over the southern plains. So southern Texas, likely below average, and below average as far as the Southeast is concerned because of the enhanced increased rainfall potential there across the South. The precipitation outlook, we're going to be seeing a drier than average in the Pacific Northwest and in the Great Lakes. It's going to be drier than average for those areas, but above average in Southern California, as you can see here, above average in California, and above average in the Southeast there. Florida and the Southeast and the Gulf Coast will likely, very likely, above average. So above average rain across the South and the Southeast into parts of the Mid-Atlantic, but below average across the Great Lakes and the Northeast and the Northwest, but above average over the Southwest, the Central and Southern Plains as well. We'll be seeing some above average rainfall or precipitation as we head through February through April. And then after April, the models indicate that El Nino will start to collapse, and maybe it's so neutral or La Nina. The La Nina signal is trying to come back. So, anyway, that's your weather forecast. My name is Mr. G. So, kind of a boring forecast right now. So, sometimes it's good to forecast those two, the boring forecast. I guess it's not boring if you're slipping around in that snow in the Northeast, in the Great Lakes, and in the Northwest as well. If you're slipping around, it's not boring for you. But we're not talking about severe weather or tornadoes or blizzards or any extremes. The cold temperatures, all things considered, this as in my professional opinion, this is a mild cold snap. This was a mild cold snap. This is by no means was this significant of a cold snap. It was short. It's going to be very short. The warmth is coming right back, so you just got to bite this apple for a little bit, but you'll be all right. It'll warm up. All this snow, all that crap is going to melt. Y'all don't get to live like us. When this snow's here, any snow that falls in November is still on the ground in April and May. So any snow that falls after just adds, and it just builds up. By the time we get to March, we got snow taller than your head out there because it snowed the whole winter. We don't get warm-ups in between storms. We're not like Denver, where they'll have a foot snowstorm and then the temperature's 60 the next day and it all melts away. We don't get that. We get stuck with it. We have to live with that crap for the whole winter, and by the time it melts, the shit's all brown and gray and every other color. And then the leaves you never raked away last fall reveals themselves, so you got moldy leaves up underneath all that snow. It's a hot mess when it melts in the spring. You got a lot of work to clean it all up again because it's like, I don't know. So anyway, that's enough. I'm getting that degree in yapology again. So, all right, so we're going to wrap this up. Call it a day, guys. Thank you for watching me. Leave your likes, comments, subscribe to YouTube or TikTok. Either one is fine. I appreciate your love and support. I will see y'all tomorrow as we talk about the weather, and I don't expect it to change much between today and tomorrow. I expect tomorrow's forecast to look pretty much like what it does today. So, but we'll be back here with any updates or any changes or anything like that. So have a great day and evening and night. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.